Faggot? The burly cop snarled, his badge glinting under the sodium streetlight like a mocking crown, as two more officers pinned Jesse against the brick wall, their grips bruising his arms. Blood trickled warm down his chin, mixing with the downpour, but it was the captain's voice, low, thunderous, cutting through the storm, that froze them all. Let him go, now. Jesse had always known love could be a battlefield, but he never imagined his own heart would turn the first shot. It was supposed to be just another Friday night in the Windy City, the kind where the skyline pierced the clouds like jagged promises, and Jesse could pretend the weight of his secrets didn't crush him. He was 32, a rising star at the Chicago PD's Internal Affairs Division. Sharp-suited, sharper-tongued, the guy who rooted out corruption with a smile that disarmed suspects and superiors alike. But beneath the tailored Armani and the Ivy League polish, Jesse Harlan carried scars that no badge could cover. A childhood in the Rust Belt suburbs where Sissy was the first word hurled at him, long before he understood what it meant. Tonight, though, the past had clawed its way back. He'd been at O'Malley's, the dive bar on Halsted Street where the city's queer underbelly pulsed with neon and nostalgia. A whiskey sour in hand, Jesse had let his guard slip, laughing too loud at a drag queen's quip about straight cops and their fragile egos. That's when Mark Riley showed up, his ex from law school, the golden boy who traded their stolen kisses for a wife and a mortgage in the burbs. Mark, drunk and bitter, had cornered him by the jukebox, slurring accusations that Jesse had ruined him, that coming out had been a betrayal of their shared ambitions. "You think you're hot shit now?" Mark had spat, his face flushed redder than the bar's exit sign. "Climbing the ladder on your back, huh? I bet the captain's just pity-fucking you to keep his job clean." Jesse's stomach had twisted, but he'd played it cool, always did. "Walk away, Mark. We're done here." But Mark didn't walk. He shoved, hard, sending Jesse's glass shattering across the floor. The bartender called it in before Jesse could blink. A disturbance, possible assault. And just like that, the blue wave crashed over him. Now, in the alley behind the bar, the three uniforms, fresh-faced rookies with chips on their shoulders, had him cuffed to the squad car's door, their taunts slicing deeper than any blade. "Look at this pretty boy," one sneered. A kid no older than 25 with a buzz cut and a smirk that screamed small-town insecurity. "What? You cry when they read you your rights, sissy?" The word landed like a gut punch, echoing the echoes of his father's belt across his back at 16, when Jesse had dared to hold hands with Tommy under the bleachers. He tasted bile not just from the blood, but from the rage bubbling up. Rage at Mark for dragging him into this, at himself for loving in a world that still weaponized it. His hazel eyes, usually so steady in boardrooms, blurred with hot tears he refused to let fall. "You don't know who you're messing with," he whispered, voice raw, but they just laughed, the sound drowned by the relentless Chicago rain. Then, headlights pierced the gloom, tires screeching as a black SUV pulled up. The door slammed, boots splashing through puddles, and there he was, Captain Alexander Alex Thorne, 6'3" of unyielding authority, his trench coat flapping like a cape in the wind. Alex's face was a storm cloud, jaw clenched, gray eyes flashing with something feral, protective. He'd been Jesse's boss for 3 years, his lover for 2. Their affair a clandestine dance of stolen hotel nights and coded texts that read like poetry on the force's encrypted line. "Thorne." The lead cop straightened, wiping rain from his brow, confusion etching his features. "Captain, this guy's a suspect in a bar fight. Assaulted an officer. Uncuff him," Alex growled, his voice a low rumble that brooked no argument. He stepped forward, towering over the rookies, his presence sucking the oxygen from the alley. The rain plastered his dark hair to his forehead, rivulets tracing the lines of his weathered face. A face that had seen too many raids, too many body bags. But tonight, those lines were etched deeper, fury warring with fear in the set of his broad shoulders. The rookies hesitated, exchanging glances. "Sir, he's my boss," Alex said, the words dropping like grenades. The alley went deathly silent, save for the patter of rain on metal. Jesse's heart stuttered. "My boss?" Alex had never said it aloud. Not like this. In their world, Jesse was the civilian oversight, the suit who audited their ledgers and lives, but Alex made it sound like ownership, like a vow carved in stone. The lead cop's face drained of color. Your boss? But he's Internal Affairs Director Harlan. Alex cut in, his tone ice cold. The man who signs my performance reviews. The man who can bury your careers with a single report. Touch him again, and you'll be directing traffic in Waukegan by dawn. Jesse sagged against the car as the cuffs clicked open, rubbing his wrists, the sting of freedom bittersweet. The rookies backed off, mumbling apologies that tasted like ash, scrambling into their cruiser and peeling out into the night. Alex didn't spare them a glance. He was already there, hands framing Jesse's face, thumbs brushing away the blood and rain with a tenderness that belied his size. "Jesus, Jess," Alex murmured, his voice cracking for the first time Jesse could remember. "I got the call on the scanner. Drove like hell from the precinct." His eyes searched Jesse's, stormy grays meeting hazel. And in that gaze was everything they never said. "I love you. I'm scared. Don't leave me in this alone." Jesse leaned into the touch, the alley fading as Alex's warmth anchored him. But even as relief flooded in, a shadow lingered. Mark's words, the rookie's slurs, the secret that had just cracked wide open. How long could they hide this? How many fists would fly before the truth broke them both? They didn't speak on the drive to Alex's loft in Wicker Park, the wipers slapping a rhythmic dirge against the windshield. The city blurred past, neon signs flickering like faulty memories, the L train rumbling overhead like the growl of unspoken fears. Jesse stared out at the lights, his jaw throbbing, but the real ache was deeper, a hollow in his chest where trust used to live. Mark's betrayal wasn't just a drunken shove. It was a grenade lobbed into the fragile fortress they'd built. Alex's place was a sanctuary of exposed brick and leather-bound books, the kind of bachelor pad that screamed repressed romantic, with its view of the park and a king bed piled with flannel sheets. He guided Jesse inside, flicking on the gas fireplace that cast dancing shadows across the walls. "Sit," Alex ordered gently, steering him to the couch before vanishing into the kitchen. He returned with a first aid kit and a tumbler of bourbon, neat just how Jesse liked it. As Alex knelt to clean the cut on Jesse's lip, their knees brushing, the silence stretched taut. Jesse sipped the bourbon, the burn grounding him. "You didn't have to out us like that," he said finally, voice hoarse. "Calling me your boss? That's playing with fire." "Alex." Alex's hands stilled, the cotton swab hovering. His gray eyes lifted, shadowed by lashes wet from the rain. "Out us? Hell, Jess, they were beating you. I couldn't." He swallowed hard, setting the kid aside. "You're more than my boss. You know that." Jesse did know. It had started innocently enough. A late-night briefing 2 years ago, files spread across Alex's desk like a battlefield map. Jesse, fresh from D.C. with his J.D. and a chip on his shoulder about reforming a force rotten with cover-ups, had challenged Alex on a botched raid. Sparks flew. Not the angry kind, but the electric pull of two men who saw through each other's armor. One argument led to a drink. One drink to a kiss in the precinct elevator, frantic and forbidden. Since then, it had been a tightrope. Weekend getaways to Michigan's dunes, where they could hold hands on empty beaches. Coded voicemails about case files that meant "I miss your skin." Alex, 40 and divorced, carried ghosts of his own. A failed marriage to a woman he'd loved as a shield. A teenage son who barely spoke to him after the divorce. Jesse had been his awakening. The man who made him question every straight-laced lie he'd told himself. But tonight, the tightrope frayed. "Mark knew," Jesse admitted, the words tasting like defeat. "About us. How? I don't know. But he threw it in my face like it was dirt." Alex's jaw tightened, a muscle ticking. He rose, pacing to the window, silhouetted against the city lights. "That son of a bitch. I ran into him last month at the academy reunion, bragging about his promotion like he hadn't ghosted you after graduation. If I'd known." Jesse set the glass down, standing on unsteady legs. He crossed to Alex, slipping arms around his waist from behind, cheek pressed to the broad expanse of his back. Alex smelled like rain and sandalwood, steady as the lakefront. "It's not just him. It's everything. The force. They're not ready for this. For us. And after tonight, word's gonna spread like wildfire." Alex turned in his arms, hands cupping Jesse's neck, thumbs tracing his pulse. "Let it. I'm done hiding, Jess. I've spent half my life pretending. Pretending I was straight for the job, for my kid, for Dad's ghost. You make me want real. Messy, terrifying real. Their lips met then, slow and searching. The kiss tasting of blood and bourbon and the salt of unshed tears. Jessie melted into it, fingers tangling in Alex's damp shirt, pulling him closer until there was no space for doubt. They tumbled to the bed in a heap of limbs and whispers, clothes shedding like old skins. Alex's hands mapped Jessie's body with reverence, tracing the faint scars on his ribs from a bar brawl in college, kissing the freckles across his collarbone like constellations. You're beautiful, Alex breathed against his throat, voice rough with want. Strongest man I know. Jessie arched under him, gasps turning to moans as Alex's mouth trailed lower, worshipful, erasing the alley's bruises with heat and hunger. It was more than sex. It was communion, two souls forging steel from fragility. When they crested together, tangled and spent, Jessie clung to Alex, the loft's quiet wrapping around them like a promise. But dawn brought reality crashing back. Jessie's phone buzzed on the nightstand, a text from his deputy director. Incident report filed. IA investigating. Your involvement? His stomach dropped. Mark had lawyered up, spinning the bar fight as Jessie's aggressive provocation, hinting at impropriety with superiors. The rookie's body cams would show the scuffle, but not the slurs, not the shove that started it. Alex stirred, arm draping possessively over Jessie's hip. What's wrong? Damage control, Jessie muttered, scrolling through emails. If this hits the brass, it'll be front page. Top cop in gay bar brawl. And us? They'll crucify you. Alex sat up, sheets pooling at his waist, his face hardening into captain mode. I'll handle the rookies. Disciplinary action, suspension at minimum. As for Mark, he trailed off, eyes narrowing. We fight this together. No more secrets. Jessie wanted to believe him, but doubt gnawed like Chicago's winter wind. Love was a risk, but in their world it was a revolution. And revolutions? They always drew blood. The next week blurred into a frenzy of depositions and denials. Jessie threw himself into work, auditing case files in his corner office overlooking the loop, the glass walls a metaphor for his transparency, or lack thereof. His team noticed the shadows under his eyes, the way his smiles didn't reach anymore. You okay, boss? His assistant Lena, a no-nonsense Latina with a knack for hacking red tape, asked over coffee. Just the usual corruption eating at me, Jessie lied, stirring sugar into his Americano. Truth was, the real rot was internal. Paranoia that every sidelong glance from a colleague was judgment, every closed door meeting a plot. Alex fared worse. Whispers slithered through the precinct like smoke. Thorne's got a soft spot for the IA pretty boy. What's the captain hiding? His son, Dylan, called from college in Ann Arbor, voice tight. Dad, is it true? You breaking up fights in gay bars now? Alex hung up without answering, slamming his fist into the punching bag in his home gym until knuckles split. They met in neutral territory, a quiet diner in Logan Square, booths sticky with history, the air thick with grease and grace. Alex slid into the seat opposite, looking every inch the weary warrior in his off-duty flannel. I pulled the body cam footage, he said, sliding a USB drive across the Formica. It's damning for them. Clear as day. Mark starts it, rookies escalate with slurs. But Jessie's fork paused mid-air, eggs forgotten. But what? Internal Affairs flagged it for review. Your review. Conflict of interest. Alex's eyes were haunted, the lines around them deeper. They're questioning my judgment, calling it favoritism. Jessie's chest tightened, fork clattering down. Because of us. God, Alex, this is what I feared. You're the one with everything to lose. The badge, the pension, your kids' respect. Alex reached across, gripping Jessie's hand under the table, thumb stroking knuckles in that way that always unraveled him. Screw the badge. Dylan. He'll come around. He has to. But his voice wavered, betraying the bluff. The betrayal hit that afternoon, sharp as a switchblade. Jessie was in a strategy meeting when his phone lit up. An anonymous email, subject your dirty secret. Attached was a grainy photo, him and Alex, locked in that elevator kiss 2 years back, time-stamped from a security feed. The message was simple: resign or this goes viral. Protect your captain. Mark. It had to be. Jesse's hands shook as he forwarded it to IT for tracing. But the sender was ghosted through a VPN. Rage boiled, but beneath it, grief, for the illusion of safety, for the love now weaponized. He confronted Alex that night in the loft, photo printed and thrust under his nose. Did you know? About the cameras? Alex's face crumpled, guilt etching deep. I suspected. After the divorce, I had the building system audited. But I thought I'd scrubbed it. Jess, I swear. You swore we'd be careful. Jesse shouted, voice breaking. The photo fluttered to the floor like a dead leaf. This isn't just your career. It's mine. Everything I've fought for, clawed from nothing. And now, because you couldn't let go of some half-assed chivalry in an alley? Alex flinched as if slapped, but he didn't back down. Chivalry? That was love, Jesse. Raw, stupid love. And yeah, I fucked up. But I'm not running. Not from this, not from you. Jesse turned away, tears hot on his cheeks, the room spinning. Maybe we should, before it destroys us both. The silence that followed was a chasm, wider than Lake Michigan. Alex crossed it anyway, pulling Jesse into his arms, holding tight as sobs racked them both. We fight, he whispered into Jesse's hair. Together, or not at all. But the storm was building, and Chicago's winds were merciless. Words spread like a brushfire through the precinct's veins. Gossip in the locker room, side eyes in briefings. The photo leaked by Thursday, splashed across local blogs with headlines screaming Captain's closet romance rocks P. Reporters camped outside Jesse's building, mics thrust like spears, questions barbed. Director Harlan, is your relationship with Captain Thorne compromising investigations? Jesse fielded them with steel-spined pressers, his lawyers poised a shield. But inside he fractured. Sleepless nights bled into dawn runs along the lakefront, pounding pavement until lungs burned, trying to outrun the echo of Sissy from that alley. Alex fared no better. His once unshakable command eroded, subordinates questioning orders, brass summoning him for clarification. The high point, their anchor, was stolen moments. A brush of fingers in the precinct garage, a coded text, storm's coming, hold the line, that meant I love you. But tension coiled tighter, a spring ready to snap. It broke at the annual police gala, a glittering farce in the Palmer House ballroom. Chandeliers dripping crystal, tuxedos starched, the air thick with cigar smoke and schmoozing. Jesse arrived solo, black tie hugging his lean frame, hair slicked just so, masking the exhaustion in his eyes. Alex was across the room, cornered by Alderman, his laugh forced. Mark slunk in late, arm in arm with his wife, a blonde trophy in sequins, his eyes locking on Jesse like a predator's. He approached during cocktails, champagne flute in hand, smile oily. Jesse, didn't expect you'd show. Ballsy after the exposure. Jesse's grip tightened on his glass. Save it, Mark. We both know why you're here. Mark leaned in, breath sour with bubbly. To warn you, old friend, resign quietly or I go public with more. Those elevator cams? Just the appetizer. I've got logs, texts, hotel receipts. Thorne's done if you drag him down. Betrayal's knife twisted deep. Mark, who'd once whispered I love you in dorm room dark, now wielded their history like a noose. Why? Jesse hissed, voice low. You threw it all away. For what? This facade. Mark's facade cracked, eyes flashing hurt masked as hate. You made me choose. The life I wanted, or this. You chose yourself. Now I choose me. Before Jesse could retort, chaos erupted. A drunk sergeant, one of the alley rookies, demoted but seething, spotted them, slurring loud enough to turn heads. That's the Sissy, the one Thorne's banging. The room hushed, a ripple of whispers spreading. Alex materialized like a thunderclap, shoving between them, his bulk a barrier. Back off, Harlan, wait, no. Riley, you're out of line. But the sergeant lunged, fist swinging wild. Alex blocked it, countering with a hook that sent the man sprawling into a table, crystal shattering like ice. Gasps echoed. Security swarmed. In the melee, Mark slipped away, but not before murmuring to Jesse, "Tick-tock." The gala dissolved into scandal. Alex frog marched out by his own men, Jesse trailing, heart pounding. Outside, under the marquee's glow, They faced the flashing cameras, hands clasped defiantly for the first time in public. "No comment," Alex barked, but his squeeze of Jesse's hand said volumes. "We're in this." Back at the loft, adrenaline crashed into anguish. They stripped off tuxes, collapsing onto the rug by the fire, bodies entwining in desperate rhythm. Fierce kisses bruising lips, nails raking backs, a fuck born of fury and fear. "I won't lose you," Alex gasped against Jesse's neck, thrusts deep and claiming. Jesse cried out, legs wrapped tight, the world narrowing to sweat-slick skin and shared breaths. Climax hit like a wave, leaving them wrecked, whispers of stay and fight hanging in the air. But dawn brought the hammer. Suspension notices. Alex, pending investigation for conduct unbecoming. Jesse, on leave for conflict. Brass demanded resignations. The mayor's office hinted at lawsuits. Jesse stared at the letter, coffee cold in his mug. "It's over." Alex, bandaged from a stray elbow at the gala, knelt before him. "No, it's just beginning." He pulled a velvet box from his pocket. A simple silver band, engraved real. "Marry me, Jess, not for show, for us." Tears blurred the words. Jesse's heart swelled, terror and joy colliding. "Yes," he breathed, slipping it on. "God, yes." The climax came not in a boardroom, but a back-alley press conference. Ironic echo of that rainy night. Flanked by lawyers and Lena, Jesse stepped to the podium outside the precinct, Alex at his side, hand in hand. Cameras whirred. Reporters bayed. "I'm gay," Jesse began, voice steady as steel. "Captain Thorne is my partner, fiancé, actually. And yes, that complicates things. But secrets, they corrupt more than any badge. Tonight, I resign from IA not in shame but to fight from outside. For reform. For love without apology." Murmurs rippled. Alex squeezed his hand, pride shining in gray eyes. "And I stand with him. If that costs me the shield, so be it." The crowd exploded, questions, applause, jeers. But in the chaos, Jesse saw Mark at the edge, face ashen, wife tugging his arm. No more leverage. The truth was free. Months blurred. Trials for the rookies, guilty, slurs ruled hate crimes. Mark's quiet transfer to desk duty amid whispers of blackmail. Jesse launched a non-profit, Shielded Hearts, advocating for queer cops. His days filled with testimonies and triumphs. Alex took a consultant gig, their wedding small but fierce. Lake Michigan backdrop, Dylan walking Jesse down the aisle, tentative smile thawing old ice. One evening, as snow dusted the loft's windows, they lay tangled, Alex's head on Jesse's chest. "Worth it," Alex murmured, fingers tracing the ring. Jesse smiled, pressing lips to his hair. Every scar, every storm. Love, Jesse learned, wasn't a battlefield without wounds. It was the grace to heal them. Together, unbowed, in the heart of America's relentless beat. And in that rhythm they found home.